the story begins with Kazuki going out to buy some items. When he returns to his messy home, he finds his friend Ray engrossed in a PlayStation game. Kazuki asks why Ray hasn't eaten, and Ray says that the food was cold. Wanting to make a fresh meal, Kazuki is startled when a cat jumps onto him before running off. Intrigued by the cat's presence, Kazuki questions Ray, who admits he found the cat on the street and brought it home. However, Kazuki decides they can't keep the cat and puts it back outside due to their living situation. Kazuki places the cat in a box and wraps it in fur to protect it from the cold weather. After eating, Kazuki tells Ray that they must rely on themselves since they're both rogue assassins. Kazuki gives Ray their mission file, set to begin at the start of the year. They visit a store to buy disguises and supplies, including ingredients Kazuki needs to bake a cake for their mission. That night, their boss Kotaro arrives to discuss the assignments. Kazuki provides Kotaro with a flash drive containing relevant information before returning home. Meanwhile, the story introduces heroine Mary, who goes to the train station to meet her father. Observing a large Christmas tree, she writes a wish to reunite with her father. After asking locals about her father's hotel, she makes her way there. At the same time, Kazuki prepares the cake for their mission while Ray cleans their weapons. They set off to complete their objective, coincidentally arriving at the same hotel where Mary is. To infiltrate the hotel, Kazuki disguises himself as Santa Claus but is stopped by a security guard. He explains that he wants to deliver the cake to the gang leader's wife. Kazuki calls the wife and hands the phone to the guard, who hears her voice and grants him access. Unbeknownst to the guard, the voice actually belongs to Kotaro, who is skillfully imitating the gang leader's wife. Kotaro's imitation convinces the guard to let him in after conducting a security check. Meanwhile, Mary spots the cake and approaches to taste it. As she and Kazuki enter the elevator together, he is surprised to see a young girl with him. Mary asks Kazuki if the cake is tasty, and he allows her to take a bite. Curious about her presence, he asks why she is there. She explains that she is searching for her father. Kazuki instructs Mary to close her eyes and stand in the corner of the elevator. As they reach their destination, Mary prepares to meet her father, but a guard awaits them at the elevator door. He orders Kazuki not to move, but Kazuki swiftly neutralizes the guards. He then grabs Mary, fearing for her safety, and proceeds with his mission. While Kazuki and Mary navigate the hotel, more guards pursue them. Kazuki manages to defeat them and enters the room where the gang leader resides. He is determined to eliminate the leader, but when Mary spots her father, she dashes towards him. In the ensuing chaos, people flee in panic, and the gang leader is left bewildered by the situation. Mary approaches the gang leader and asks if he is her father. The leader takes her hostage to protect himself. Meanwhile, Kazuki and Ray hide, devising a plan. Kazuki comes up with a strategy and tells Mary he has found her father. As she inquires about his whereabouts, Kazuki hurls food at the gang members, creating a distraction. He and Ray then seize the opportunity to attack and subdue them. Kazuki reveals to Mary that he is her father, prompting her to joyfully leap into his arms. Ray eliminates the gang leader, and they all escape in their truck. Exhausted, Mary falls asleep. Ray remarks that while he wasn't allowed to bring a cat home, Kazuki has brought a child. Kazuki examines the photos Mary had of her father and realizes that the gang leader was her true father and he had killed him. This revelation shocks Kazuki. The next morning, Mary asks Kazuki to take her to the toilet. Afterward, she inquires about Kazuki's living situation, and he informs her that the house is only temporary. Kazuki prepares food while Ray wakes up and is introduced to Mary. To keep her occupied, Kazuki suggests that Mary play with Ray's toys. Kazuki serves breakfast to Mary and tries to gather more information about her background, such as where she came from and which train she took. However, being a young girl, Mary doesn't know these details. Kazuki then asks for her full name so he can search for her family online. She reveals her name as Mary Onisaka and explains that her mother is disabled. Mary begins to sing while Kazuki attempts to find information about her family but comes up empty-handed. Kazuki decides they need to seek Kotaro's help, but as he discusses this with Ray, Mary accidentally spills coffee on herself. Kazuki provides Mary with a change of clothes, albeit oversized, and turns on the TV to play cartoons, instructing her to stay put while they visit Kotaro. Kotaro informs them that their previous operation garnered significant attention, particularly due to the large New Year's Eve crowd. He warns them to avoid suspicion and not to repeat their mistake, or he will assign all their tasks to others. Kotaro hands them payment for their last mission and, upon hearing about Mary, expresses surprise. Fearing Kotaro's potential reaction, Kazuki avoids revealing too much information about Mary. Upon returning home, they find the house in disarray and fear that someone has raided it with Mary inside. Hearing noise upstairs, they discover Mary playing hide-and-seek with a real gun. Shocked, Kazuki instructs her to put it down, assuring Ray that the weapon is not loaded. That night, Kazuki briefs Ray on their new mission and emphasizes the importance of not making mistakes to avoid Kotaro's wrath. As Kazuki plays hide-and-seek with Mary, he finds her hiding behind a desk. The next morning, Ray and Kazuki prepare for their mission. Mary insists on accompanying them, but Kazuki tries to distract her with sweets to keep her at home. Mary realizes their intentions and protests, eventually convincing Kazuki to bring her along. Arriving at the mission site, Ray assumes the role of a sniper while Kazuki disguises himself as a maintenance worker. Mary inadvertently sounds the truck's horn, prompting Kazuki to remind her to stay quiet. She insists on going to the toilet, and Kazuki promises they'll return soon. Kazuki enters the house, disables the cameras, and plants bombs, awaiting the target's move to the pool. However, Ray is unable to get a clear shot. Meanwhile, Mary rings the bell, attracting a guard's attention. He takes her to the bathroom, but Kazuki hears Mary's voice and hides. Believing they are playing hide-and-seek, Mary runs away. The guard discovers that Kazuki isn't a maintenance worker, causing everyone to scatter with his order. Kazuki uses a smoke bomb as a diversion to chase Mary but ends up cornered by the target. Ray shoots at them, but Kazuki shouts not to fire since they're in the line of fire. They escape, having failed the mission. Kazuki reprimands Mary for jeopardizing the mission and warns her not to call him father outside the house. Mary apologizes and promises to be more careful. Back at home, Kotaro calls Kazuki, acknowledging the failed mission but assuring him it's under control. He reveals that the gang leader Kazuki killed had a son with a lover and offers to send the information. Kazuki and Ray learn Mary's mother's whereabouts through Kotaro and decide to reunite Mary with her family. This concludes the first part of the story. To find out if Kazuki and Ray can bring Mary back to her family, stay tuned for the second part. Please like, subscribe, and comment to support the creation of more summaries. Thank you and see you in the next video.